Members, it was mentioned during the Q&A that unlike past hurricane disaster relief bills, this one does not include any protections for eviction or foreclosure. In my district and in districts around the county, hurricanes Nicole and Ian have been absolutely devastating, massive damage, massive flooding. In District 42, if you saw photos, we had entire neighborhoods that were underwater. And that's in Central Florida, not in flood zones. And there's so much work to do when it comes to rebuilding, but there's also just the day-to-day economic impact. And with inflation the way that it is, alongside wages the way they are, especially in service-driven economies, many families were already struggling to make ends meet. But that becomes even worse in the case of a disaster. You have families who lose their source of income. You have families who lose a loved one and their source of income. You have folks who, are unable to access their employer because of damage in the streets. There are other safety nets out there that kick in, but they take time, whether it's DUA or food stamps. They're not always readily available. And so eviction protection is something very near and dear to my heart. Keeping people housed saves money for the government. It reduces homelessness, and it helps keep our kids safe and secure. And so I'm requesting with this amendment that during a declared state of emergency, in the case of Hurricane Ian and Nicole, with natural disasters being the reason why, that you have a pause on evictions. And then when that declaration is lifted, it will last for about 30 days. And this really just gives that renter and the landlord an opportunity to figure things out, to try to restore payment, and to potentially have to relocate with time to find a new location. There were some really heartbreaking images actually from Lee County in a trailer park community of renters where lawmakers stepped in to help, but they were basically being evicted with no other place to go. So that is the amendment, Mr. Chair.